He walked into the bar and stood a few feet from the door, his eyes scanning around the bar. He was dressed in a black shirt with the sleeves rolled to the elbows, and black suit trousers, and a very expensive-looking wristwatch on his left wrist, complementing his rich looks. He looked really handsome as he stood by the doorpost, scanning the entire room. "This way to the VIP section, sir." The guard at the door welcomed him, trying to lead him to his regular section. He was a regular VIP customer at the bar, and every time he came, he went directly upstairs. "Don't worry, I'll grab a quick drink at the bar." He waved the guy aside. Still scanning the bar, soft gasps escaped the lips of people who were in the bar. It was barely 6 p.m. and was definitely not the time to find Jack Antonio in a bar. Jack Antonio wasn't just a regular guy. He was top 5 richest guy in California. He owned a few businesses scattered around the city and country. His father was a tourist and a big lover of gems, so he collected gems, gold, and any other precious stone he could find during his travels. It was after his retirement that he decided to set up a jewelry store and museum to display his art and precious stones. He himself owned 2 hotels, one in California and the other in New York. He also owned a construction company that was the biggest in the city. He was a fucking self-made multi-millionaire. A shot of Blanco tequila, he ordered as he settled on the seat in front of the bar counter. He let his eyes wander around the bar. It was a bit empty, except for a few people who had come to meet up with clients or grab drinks. Here, the bartender placed the shot in front of him and flashed him a smile. He picked the shot and downed it all in one gulp, letting the drink burn down his dry throat. He typed into his phone, and a few seconds later, he was on his way out. He had failed to find the person he came for. His phone beeped and raised it to check the message. It was a notification for the meeting he was to have in a couple of minutes. He walked out of the bar towards his black Mercedes AMG CLS 53 that was parked outside in the parking space. He pressed the button on the key and the car beeped, unlocked. He had 30 minutes before his big meeting. He drove off and arrived 25 minutes later at the huge headquarters of the company he was supposed to close a deal with. Stepping into the headquarters of Brooke Automobiles, he readjusted his already well-ironed suit and walked swiftly to the reception desk. "Meeting with Neil Brooke," he stated, facing the beautiful secretary who looked up from the computer she was typing into. "Use that elevator that way. The boardroom is on the 3rd floor. Mr. Brooke is expecting you," she stated politely, returning to type into the computer. He nodded and taking her instructions, he made his way to the boardroom. Brooke Automobiles was one of the biggest companies in the country. It was founded by Mr. Owen Brooke 32 years ago. Neil took over the operations of the company 7 years ago when his father was forced into retirement due to health issues, and so far, he had done a great job in maintaining the company's record. Standing outside the boardroom, Jack wiped away the little sweat that formed on his forehead. He was really nervous. This would be his biggest deal ever if it goes through, and his hopes were quite high. "Welcome, Jack. Take a seat." The Chief Operating Officer of Brooke Automobiles, Lane, offered as Jack opened the door and stepped into the room. He was slightly overwhelmed by the number of faces that turned to him as he stepped in. He was a big CEO, but he had anxiety issues, especially after what happened years ago. They both walked out of the boardroom after the meeting that lasted for over 2 hours. Brooke and the management team were pleased with his proposal, and so he got the contract. "Thank you, Mr. Brooke," he thanked for the umpteenth time. "You deserve it. You're good and you have potentials," Neil encouraged, patting him. Neil Brooke was a 34-year-old man. He was a business administrator and consultant and owned his private firm before he took over the running of his dad's company. He got married 4 years ago and has a little son. "We should celebrate. Maybe a drink at the bar. You up?" Neil questioned and he nodded. It wouldn't be a bad idea to grab a drink, especially with Neil Brooks. He needed to clear his head. Together, they walked outside the office building to the garage and into their cars. Neil kicked his engine to life and drove out, Jack following behind. They got to Inn Bar, the same bar Jack had come to a few hours ago. The bar was the biggest in California. It had a clubhouse and casino in it. The identity of the owners was not known to the public, but rumors had it that it was operated by a mafia. They went in, and it was busy as ever. Colored fluorescent lights illuminated the inside, making it a bit difficult to see the faces of people inside. They pushed through people and different seductive stares of whores, trying to get their attention, and soon they were at the top. He took one last glance behind him and he caught her image. Seated on the high bar stool was one of the prettiest women he had ever set his eyes on. She was dressed in a short gown that stopped mid-thigh and hugged her body perfectly. Her hair was blown straight and fell to her shoulders. From his position, he couldn't clearly see her face, but he knew she was the one, the same lady he had come looking for earlier.